You may have missed it, but Kenyan politics has entered a very deadly phase. Very deadly. The recent, abandoned, frustrated parliamentary group meeting between UDA, Kenya Kwanza legislators, and ODM, politicians, was a very clear indication that where we have reached is a very deadly place, and a lot of chaos and upheaval is on the door as far as the nation called Kenya is concerned. Karibuni sana to my show, which I talked about, advertised in my previous video, and so I'm sure many of you are looking forward to this one, so let's get down to business immediately. Bila kizungu mingi, what we have before us, ladies and gentlemen, politically, is a war between parliament, that is all these politicians, versus the principles. The principles, of course, Raila Amolo Odinga and President William Samoei Ruto, the two principles of the broad-based government. There should be no doubt on anybody's mind, especially after that very stormy meeting, PG meeting, that never really took off. There should be no doubt on anybody's mind that actually these battle lines have been drawn. This battle is real. Anyway, as promised, let us identify the combatants. Of course, the most obvious group are the very visible rebels. In fact, the prominent politicians who boycotted this meeting. And it doesn't matter whether they send an apology or not. They were just a no-show. And I hope you can see that this was very strategic. Because many times in politics, there reaches a point where you have no option for survival and for you to be popular, to play to the gallery. And therefore you'll agree with me that by giving this meeting a miss, these two politicians, Edwin Sifuna and Babu Owino, their popularity has grown even further. I'm sure you'll agree with me. Now I'm sure we know that both these politicians are very ambitious. Babu Owino has told us in clear language that he aims to be the president of Kenya one day. Edwin Sifuna's political profile and career has been on the rise. We all know that. And many Kenyans are looking up to him. Many Kenyans are following him closely, waiting for guidance from him as a leader. So he's in pole position to choose virtually any office for the next election, and have a very good chance of winning that office, no matter how high up that office is. And so that is the very obvious group of rebels that everybody is seeing. But there is also another group, and these are politicians who are against Raila but are still pro-Ruto. Obviously, these are UDA people, and they're people who are close to Ruto. Now, the big argument this group has always had is that according to them, the inclusion of Raila into the government has not helped Ruto. And there are many who will agree with them. However, they have not missed to take note of the fact that Raila joining the broad-based government has completely finished Raila the brand. And they're happy about that. But then it is the feeling of this group that it is now time for Raila to leave, so that the UDA government can get its house in order and also so that they can eat without having to share, and to share with people who are not adding any value. Of course, this group includes people like Oscar Sudi, yeah, and mainly powerful politicians from the Rift Valley. Now, this rebel group is very dangerous. Why is it dangerous? It is dangerous because if they succeed, yeah, they will speed up. They don't know this and they're not seeing it. But the truth is, they will speed up the exit of Ruto from power. Why? Because it is very clear that without a Raila-Ruto partnership, it will be very difficult to keep this government of Ruto propped up. But of course, this rebel group does not see that, and it is marching forward. And of course, they were very much present at that PG meeting. In fact, this was the main group jeering Raila Odinga and not allowing him to speak. These are the people who forced Raila to start giving a lecture on democracy, yeah, and allowing your opponent or somebody who has different views to speak in peace. Yeah. Of course, a lecture that fell on deaf ears. Group number 3, those politicians who are against both Raila and Ruto, okay, but they're not with the Babu Owino, Edwin Sifuna group. These people are solo. This group also includes legislators who are still livid, yeah, that the CDF, the Constituency Development Fund, is on its way out. They do not want that to happen, okay, and they're so annoyed because to some of them it will not be possible to operate as an MP without the CDF. Now, of course, there are many issues there, yeah, starting with the fact that the Constitution never reached a place where it looked at members of parliament as people carrying cash to their constituencies to actually implement on the ground development projects. Hiyo hakuna. But of course, if you look at it from the other side of the coin, Kenyans, the people of Kenya, have always looked up at the MPs as people who are supposed to do exactly that, even though this is not the correct position. Anyway, that is a huge topic by itself. This group that is against Raila and Ruto are also very serious, and their strategy is very clear. The only way they can have their way in the end, even if it is through the courts, is to ensure that they completely finish Raila and Ruto, okay? So don't underestimate the power of this rebel group. And finally, the most dangerous group, we will just call them opportunists. Now, this is the group of opportunistic politicians who are not allied to Babu Owino or Edwin Sifuna. They are on their own and they have their own plans. Some of them are plotting to become governors. Some of them are plotting to get even more political influence while remaining as members of parliament. Some of them are plotting, yeah, to be re-elected into parliament. Because you see, these politicians are not fools. They know the mood in the country. They know that if we're to go into elections today, the whole house would go home. Oh yes. Virtually almost every single MP would go home. Very few would scrape back by the skin of their teeth. They're very much aware of this. And therefore, they have seen ahead and they have decided to be opportunists, to position themselves in such a way that they get back to parliament. And they're also very keenly aware that the most effective way of doing that is to bring down the broad-based government, is to bring down both Raila Odinga and William Samoei Ruto. They're very much aware of this. Now, it is important to note that these people are making many of their moves chini ya maji. Although some of their moves are very obvious, they're coming out in news reports and so on. But a lot of their very deadly moves are chini ya maji. They are mobilizing people on the ground. They are making it very clear to their constituents, mainly through proxies, mainly through their people they are sending out. They're making it very clear where they stand. And this group too is very deadly. Now, let us step back for a minute. Is it possible for the broad-based government to survive with all these hungry lion groups out to bring down this government? Do you think it is possible? You tell me. Because we have listed them very clearly. And I'm sure you recognize a lot of legislators who belong to these groups, especially the other three, apart from Babu and Sifuna, who are very visible. I'm sure you recognize many. And therefore, what that means, wait for this one, is that it is now very easy for a motion of impeachment against President William Samoei Ruto to be brought on the floor of the House and to pass quickly. Remember, the speakers also have problems of their own. Yeah, with Ruto, of course. They have serious problems of their own. Not only with Ruto, but they also have problems of political survival. Because at the end of the day, they remain politicians. Hey, isn't this a perfect storm brewing in the motherland? I will of course keep you very posted of developments as we proceed. But I hope this series of 2 videos has opened our eyes to see what is happening. These game-changing things happening in our politics currently. I just want to remind you of my latest highly sensitive special report that dives into something much deeper than just Gachagua. It talks about what is really happening behind the scenes. And many of the people who have taken it in have gotten back to me and told me, Chris, what? We are finished. That is what most people have told me. Now you can see details on your screens right now. For only Kenya shillings 2,999, you can get this highly sensitive information pop in your inbox. And please don't forget to get me your email address quickly, immediately after you've made your payment for quick service. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.